Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Obsessed Movie Man. I'm here at Barnes & Noble with my friend Tori from TAGMovieReviews. Say hello, Tori.
I don't know if I'm in this, but whatever.
Anyway, you're probably wondering what we're doing at Barnes & Noble. Well, in one of the previous videos for TV Recap, I believe, we talked about getting Criterion videos, and we're actually going to go back here to get more Criterion videos, and then after that, we're going to talk about our personal favorite Criterion movies, or at least some of them. So I brought Tori along because, one, Brandon's unavailable, so I had to settle for Tori. And two...
That's harsh.
Yeah. Well, two, Tori is a big Criterion collection fanatic. I don't know if you know that from his videos where he constantly talks about Criterion. Any comments on that, Mr. Tag Movie Reviews?
No. I mean, I do have a video. You should link it. But since that video last year, I've gotten so much. I think I have almost 57 films, including an Eclipse, which I will talk about that. Oh, I didn't bring the Eclipse. Oh well. Yeah, I've been collecting these, and they're very essential to anyone who wants to be a filmmaker. And I think everyone should watch these.
And I think right now the Criterion sale is still going on. It could be over. I'm not sure.
No, so you have until July.
All right.
It's the end of July.
So I'm gonna at least pick out one. Tori might splurge because he's a shopaholic, unlike me, who doesn't spend money on anything. Legends. But yeah, let's go on inside, shall we? Anything you want to say, Tori?
Bazinga.
I get to the music section, which is where the Criterion section is, where all the movies are. It's been hold on. It's been kind of remodeled, and there's not as much stuff there, but we're gonna go 50% off. Hold on. You're fine. 50% off. So, and yes, it looks like we have the place to ourselves. So here we go. So. Should we discuss why there's not much footage of us at Barnes & Noble?
Yeah, we got kicked out. They hated us.
We didn't get kicked out, they just said there's no filming in there, which was unfortunate, but we got at least a few footage. I don't even recall if on the camera you hear the woman saying no cameras. It might be on there, but we'll find out when I edit this.
That would be hilarious.
So, I'm not sure if you wanted to keep what we're... There's also spoiler warning. There's probably going to be minimum editing on this video. It's kind of like a vlog. But Tori wants to surprise what videos he's chosen. But can we at least say which videos we bought?
Yeah. Let me get into that first. Let me get into the fact that I don't have mine out. Because I have a lot. I'll send you a footage of everything I own before I went and grabbed whatever I got. But I have, again, like I said in the video, I had over 57, well now 60 films from Criterion, because we splurged. We got what we got, and yeah, I think yeah, we should spoiler warnings for some, but not all.
Right.
I would say, because
we're not going to talk about every single one we own.
Yeah.
And Tori has way more than I do. I only have a handful, and also I have not seen all the ones that I have. I collect movies, but it takes a while for me to just... It's probably the Asperger's, or it's probably laziness. I don't know what. It just takes a lot for me to sit down and watch a movie on my free time, because most of it I'm just editing.
You're fine, because there are some films that I own on Criterion that I haven't even seen yet.
But they're ones that I am going to get to, and some of them I have reviewed already, like Enter the Dragon I've reviewed, Godzilla
I was going to say, obviously Godzilla. I mean, wait, is this a Godzilla?
Yeah. This was the first Criterion movie I ever got, and that's when I first heard of it, which is the 1954 Japanese cut. It also has the American one. But
have you reviewed War of the Worlds?
I haven't. I'll go over the ones that I own. These are the ones that I'm not going to talk about. War of the Worlds, it's a great film. The Lodger, which is an early silent Alfred Hitchcock film. These are ones that I own. Tori really wants me to talk about this one day. House. That is on.
You know. That's all I gotta say.
House. The one I mentioned before that I got, Charade. The second Criterion Collection movie I ever received was The Seventh Seal, because I really want to see that. And
I got jealous of him getting that, and I ended up purchasing it the next day.
yes, he did. And I guess I'll go right now with what I bought, because it's ironic because I was talking about looking for it, and Tori was saying you're not going to find it because it's so, or you might not find it, or if you do, it's just super expensive or something. You said it was just hard to find.
No, because right now, when we're filming this, it's in July. Okay, July 2021, Criterion, Barnes & Noble, 50% off, yada, yada, yada. Everything is either gone or you would have to probably purchase it online and then they would bring it to the store. Luckily, we got there. The first time we got there, last week or something, there wasn't that much. This week there was quite a few more than what we got, and this one was kind of a surprise.
Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. And in high school, we were watching this for film club, and we never finished it. I don't know if it was. I don't remember if it was because kids were bored. I wasn't. I really wanted to see it because I heard about it, and it's basically, what is it? The Magnificent Seven is the American version.
Yeah, the Magnificent Seven
is the Western version, which this came first, and I'm not sure if kids were. My group was bored, or if it was because lunch was like 30 minutes, so there was no way we're going to finish it unless we spent, I assume, half the year watching just this one movie, and I think we just opted to pick something. So I wasn't bored, but I'm excited to finally see it. I have vague memories of it, but that's the one that I picked, and I was so happy to find it. I was actually panicking because I couldn't remember for the life of me if I did have it or not, so I did not open it. I kept the receipt, and thankfully I do not own it. Tori.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say?
No.
You want me to talk about Seven Samurai? Or do you want me to...
I was just saying this is what I bought. I'm not going to talk about it because I haven't seen it, but I was just saying, do you want to talk about what you got? Or...
Yeah, before we do that though, I like to look at the spines and all that. So what's interesting about this, Jack, is this is actually the second film that's been in the Criterion.
Oh yeah, because they say
like the number 2. So this is the second film in the Criterion. Next one was the first one was The Grand Illusion.
Okay.
So this was the start of when like Akira Kurosawa kind of got into the collection. And then
we saw Rashomon. We saw, what was the one?
Throne of Blood.
Throne of Blood.
I would highly recommend Throne of Blood.
And Tori's a good person to talk about Criterion. As I said, he was recommending a whole bunch of things. What was the one that you said, I don't have the picture of me, that you said was your favorite film?
So I made a video. Obviously, we talked about this. And I said that this was my new all-time favorite film. And it's called Persona. It's Ingmar Bergman. Absolutely fantastic film, and I recommended it to him. I mean, I own it. I should have brought it, but I talked about it. The video that I did do, there's some videos there is a video that I talked about my Criterion collection. Those are the ones that I did not bring. Okay. I wanted to do something new and different, but the film that I did end up getting, I know you probably don't know what this is. I don't know if anybody.
That's gonna be this whole video, pretty much.
So this is called the Three Colors Trilogy. It's blue, white, and red. Literally, that's what they're titling it. But it's a trilogy. In the simplest of terms, this was Marvel before Marvel. Oh. This was it's like a trio of stories which are mostly centered around like people who are dealing with like grief, love, anger. There's a lot of things like in this trilogy that I would recommend, especially Red. Red is the best one of the trilogy. Everyone could agree upon that. But this film is really, really worth it. And I was so happy to have gotten this. I've been wanting this for quite a while now. I mean, I want to open it.
You want to do an unboxing here?
Yeah.
Or unwrapping here?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do yours too, you can.
Let's do these. This counts as this counts as an unboxing video?
Unboxing, vlog.
We're going to put a whole bunch of tags in this.
Yeah.
The algorithm will pick it up.
Make sure you... Make sure you hit that subscribe and like button.
Make sure you hit that subscribe and hit a like if you like the video.
Oh my god. I'm very interested in seeing what's inside here.
It's a movie.
Well, there's 3 movies.
Oh, it's 3 movies.
3 movies in one.
It's a mystery box.
It's a mystery science.
It's a mystery loot box.
So, 3 colors. We'll go ahead and I'll open up the first one.
And do you want to talk about the fact that they include a booklet?
Yes, the booklet is many reasons why people get this is because the booklet comes with a bunch of essays from directors that normally would inspire or like we're like, oh yeah, this is a movie that helped them get through like a film, or like there's just a bunch of essays that literally explaining like what the film meant to them, or like during the time period of when this film was. There's a lot of things that go on with these essays, but overall though, that's pretty much what they are. They're just essays. So this is blue.
Really? Why is it called blue?
Because it's about depression and good grief.
No, I mean, what's the color of the DVD?
Blue.
Oh, okay.
The color is blue.
I wouldn't have guessed. I thought it was yellow.
Oh, well, it's like the thing on TikTok where it's like green or blue. Green! It's blue. Oh, look, it's white. Wow. This one, okay, white is interesting because white is more of a comedy than the other ones. This one's a drama. This one's kind of a comedy. Revenge story a little bit. It's pretty funny. And then red is like...
Is it horror?
No, I don't even know.
Looks like...
It's
Who is that? It looks like a cross between Dr. Evil and Hannibal Lecter.
Well, the interesting thing about... Spoilers. The interesting thing about the trilogy is that at the end of each one, the character cries, indicating that the film is over.
Okay.
But, yeah, here's the essays that come with it. Oh my god, that's actually really crazy. I'm gonna have to read through this all later tonight. But, yeah, that's what I got. I'm very happy that I got this. The thing with Criterion is that you could pick anything out of here. And I've said this numerous times on like TikTok and other people's vlogs and videos and stuff, but you could pick anything out of these and you will be 100% satisfied, guaranteed.
Yeah.
No problem.
Now, I have a question, because would you recommend blue, white, red to someone who does go through depression, like for the blue one, or not really?
No,
Okay.
because blue is more of a... Spoilers. Blue is about... a mom or a wife losing her husband, and she's going through a bunch of like grief and stuff. It's not necessarily about depression. It's more along the lines of it being about the loss of a loved one.
I bring this up because we brought up depression on this channel for personal reasons, and I wonder sometimes like if certain people go I'm trying to figure out how to put this, how people feel different ways when watching movies, and sometimes it changes for the better, sometimes for the worse, mostly for the better. But I'm trying to think, should people who suffer like serious depression watch depressing movies, or do you think that's something that's probably not, that's kind of something that you...
It's up to you, really. I mean, you could watch... I've seen movies when I'm depressed and they're depressing, but they like... It just puts me in the mood of like going like, yeah, I mean... I could feel that. Like, I understand. When I watch depressing movies, I usually tend to watch a lot of depressing movies. It's not because I'm like, oh, I need to feel depressed or I need to feel this certain way. I know there's people out there that suffer through depression, but with films, it's a gateway. It's a way for you to, like, get out of your funk. Yeah, you're watching someone else go through depression, but you're also relating to that. You actually have, like, a companion with you.
It was kind of like escapism, but it's also kind of, in a weird way, a therapeutic kind of stuff.
It's very therapeutic. And I've said, and this is on my my Instagram bio, it's like, cinema is therapy. It literally is. And I feel like a lot of times when I feel a certain way, I just pop in a movie, whether it be happy, sad, depressing, smart, experimental, anything, batshit insanity. It's just therapy. That's all films are. They're just escapism. Not necessarily in a bad way, but like in a sense that like I could watch it and just like be alone for 2 hours in this whole new world.
See, one of the I'm not sure. I think this is on Criterion, but one of the ones that I can't watch again because it's way too depressing. It's not way too depressing, but it's sad. Is The Bicycle Thief.
Yes, that's on Criterion.
Yeah, that's on Criterion. And I remember watching that in film class. I'm like, wow, what a bummer.
Yeah, there's a lot of them like that. Warning for certain Criterions. A lot of them have to do with depression. A lot of them do have explicit stuff. I wouldn't want to go too deep
Sallow.
into them. Yeah, we don't talk about... That's the more infamous one that everyone
We
talks
mostly
about.
bring that up as a joke from time to time. Sallow is like a running...
There's a
inside joke.
lot of shitty reasons, I guess you could talk about Sallow, but like... there's it's much more than just Sallow. There's reasons why Sallow is on Criterion, and I've said this before. Criterion is not about like, oh, let's put something crazy on a fucking DVD and see how many people like buy it. No, it's essential for a reason.
Because anyone can do that.
Well,
anyone can
yeah.
do something shock value is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, you don't want to hear a crazy fact about that movie? Sallow. Okay, Sallow, I'm not going to go into too much detail about Sallow, but it's about 4 gentlemen. They signed an agreement that they're going to marry each other's daughters. And this was set in World War II, or around World War II. Then they end up capturing 12 children and putting them through a series of, like, very, very horrible things. It may sound horrible on paper, and it may be like horrible to like some people, but you gotta realize that it's World War II. It's also like a certain... It's not about like the gross factor, it's like it's historical. Technically, films are historical in their own sense. Sallow is historical in a certain way.
Okay.
Yes, there's a lot of explicit things in Sallow, but like there are some things in, I mean, shit, Antichrist, which is on Criterion,
Yeah.
that are far worse than that.
Is that the one with Willem Dafoe?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also what's the other one? In the realm, in the sense of the realm or something like that. It's a Japanese film, which is literally, it draws the line between what is a film and what is a pornography. But I mean, again, there's some explicit stuff. I wouldn't want to go too much deep into that rabbit hole, but like,
I think we've now gone on.
Yeah.
And we should talk about our
That's what I'm
5.
saying.
We're going to go with 5 picks. We can briefly talk about each one. We won't go on too long of a tangent, hopefully, but we'll go on. Tori, you're the guest. Would you like to go first?
sure. I mean,
I don't, full disclosure, I don't know what
we'll do.
Tori's-
How about this? We'll do one of each. I'll do one. You do one. I'll do
Alright.
one. You do one.
Alright, so
So I'm
we'll
just
pick our
grabbing
picks.
a one out of random because I know there's like one that I really want to wait and
Alright, so-
have convince Jack to watch.
Okay.
So the first one. I mean, you can.
I'm just moving them. So let's move these out of the
I'll
way.
move mine over here. So the first one, the first one I'm going to talk about is very lighthearted. It's sad because I know you're hungry, but I want to talk about this one. Tempopo.
Hold on, let's use Godzilla as a book. Let's use this.
Tempopo. There we go. Cool. Tempopo. If you are hungry, don't watch this. Don't watch this if you are hungry or you're just waiting for your dinner to start. You better eat something or you better have something on you when watching this film because this is a love film for anyone who's into food. Pretty much there's like several different things that go on, but the main plot is that there's a ramen store or a guy who's like a ramen enthusiast. He goes around to Japan and he finds this ramen place where it's just really bad, really not that great ramen. So he goes, well, why not we renovate your place? So the girl that runs the place is named Tempopo, and that's pretty much, it's like a Rocky but with food.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I do like Rocky's obviously a classic film, so I think that the majority of people really like. So I'm sure that if you like Rocky, you like this. Then
There's a lot more other things that go on, but the thing is that ties it together is that story. There's a story that there's a funny opening intro where a man they're in a movie theater, and he tells the man that he wants to order oysters, champagne, and all these nice things, and then he looks at the camera and goes like, are you eating something while watching this or something? He's like, you better be ready.
So it breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, there's a fourth wall break in the beginning, but it lets you know that you better be ready for something quite unique, because Tampopo is definitely a unique film. Hunter recommended this.
Oh, he did.
Because Hunter is my brother, he's seen this before me, actually.
So would you say Hunter's also a Criterion fan? Or
No,
okay.
no, he hates it when I talk about this shit. But Tampopo would absolutely recommend this. It is by far, like, probably top 10 Criterion films I've seen. But yeah, that's my first one would be Tampopo.
So I definitely would watch that. I'm a picky eater by trait, but yeah. What?
Picky eater?
Yeah.
Food?
Oh, okay.
That's the joke.
Oh, okay.
Tampopo.
Oh, I see. So, I've been wanting to try branching out. I've been trying some Japanese food. When I went to...
This will make you want to go to Japan.
Yeah, so, well, I want to go for many reasons, and I'll bring up the main reason right now, and this is going to be pretty easy. Godzilla. I know I'm not going to have the most elaborate Criterion selection. Tori's is going to be more cinematic, I guess, or more extravagant. The reason I bring up Godzilla is, even though I reviewed it, is Godzilla's been a big part of my life. It quite honestly was my Barney growing up, because I was...
No, the two dinosaurs,
Yeah,
Barney.
yeah.
That's Barney.
And this was also the first Criterion I got. I still have my VHS of Godzilla, and also, if I would recommend, even though I grew up with the American cut, I would highly recommend everyone to see the Japanese cut, because Godzilla, the first one, is a horror movie. It's an allegory for the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Is this the Japanese one, or is this
Well, it's both on here.
Okay, both of them
But
are
I'm
on
also going to talk about...
Because I don't like the American version.
The one where they inserted Raymond Burr.
Yeah, into the cuts.
Well, that's the one I grew up with, and I didn't realize that there were two cuts because I'm a naive American child. But I will say that it's more than just a man in a rubber suit. That's what everyone goes to. But it is
in the rubber suit.
Man in the rubber suit. But people also forget how infamous it was to be in the rubber suit. Where I believe Hiro Nakajima, the actor inside the Godzilla suit, passed out numerous times. He lost, I don't know how, he sweat off an excess of his body fat because you had all these harsh lights on him. And the first time he was in it, I think he tripped and fell, and I think he broke his nose, or he at least got some injury. It was horrible to be the man in the Godzilla suit. But like I said, this is a real horror story. It's tame by today's standards, but there is some shocking imagery of people with radiation burns, children getting scanned for radiation, a woman holding her children saying they're going to see their father soon.
There are some interesting things about the Japanese version that I find very, like, going like, whoa, this is Godzilla? Because if you look at the box set, obviously there's
goofier ones.
Goofier Godzilla. Godzilla became, like, literally the Jason Voorhees of, like, monsters, where he just kept getting a film.
I would actually compare it more to Freddy Krueger, where Freddy started off terrifying, became
Yeah. I would just say plot-wise for certain ones, because, Freddy's the goofy one. Jason just got the ridiculous, like, nuts. Yeah.
And I will also say there's some, probably the last thing two things I'll talk about last. The whole philosophical argument with Dr. Serizawa and the oxygen destroyer is that, yes, this device could kill Godzilla, but what if this device gets into the wrong hands, we could have another atomic bomb. Like, this movie was made not long after the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And it's a really you never expect that for a Godzilla film, but it's heavy subject matter. And that's one of the things I didn't like of King of the Monsters, where we just kind of glance over the oxygen destroyer and it's just a generic
It's literally
weapon.
a 50s sci-fi monster movie in the 50s. Or I think it was...
This was 1954.
1954 was the Japanese, 1956 was King of the Monsters, which was the American release.
Yeah.
The American release is so Americanized. Even it says it right here.
It literally says that. But I will give Raymond Burr this. He did take it seriously because he talked about how he didn't have to be in the Roger Corman American cut in 1984, but he wanted to because he actually did understand that Godzilla. I listened to the comment. That's the fun thing about the Criterion. They have commentaries on it, and they talked about how Raymond Burr did take it. Even though the American Guy's cut I can't watch anymore, he did take it seriously, which you can't really tell, but he did. Even though his stuff is amazingly forced.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about it.
And the last thing I'll say is I got the Showa collection because each Godzilla series is from the Showa, Heisei, or Millennium. This is highly worth it. It has American and Japanese cut for versions on each movie, and it's a good way of getting all of the movies. It does have the Japanese version of Godzilla vs. King Kong, but there's really no alternate ending, as the myth says. But that's all I'll say. I would recommend both Godzilla, and if you can get a copy of the Showa collection, go get that. Tori?
Cool. I mean, I got nothing to say about Godzilla. I mean, you already know my opinion on Godzilla, but...
Yeah.
Let's see what other ones that I could throw at you. Dang, did I just get depressing ones? Okay.
Oh, thanks.
So, I recently watched this a month or two ago, but I ended up getting it on Criterion because I think it's a really damn good film. And that's called La Haine. La Haine is translated in French as hate. It's literally just hate. But it's about three boys, or three teenagers. They live in like this suburban kind of like, they live in France, but it's kind of like underground New York-y kind of thing. But they end up, they're in the middle of a protest where one of the cops loses their gun. And it turns out that one of the boys has the gun. And they're like, what are we going to do with it? They're like trying to be all macho. It's kind of like a weird coming of age story, but told through the eyes of these three boys. One of them is African American, one of them is Jewish, and the other one is Islamic. And they're pretty much being like ridiculed for like their race. They go to like this one guy's house named to pick up money and drugs. But it's a really good film, and what's interesting about this film is that they use time as like a way of like saying, okay, we get this the next hour. It's all in a day.
Oh, okay.
The whole film is set in a day. But what's so interesting, man, I really don't want to spoil the ending. What's interesting that does happen at the end, not so much spoilers, but it goes from being like at nighttime where it says the set time. And then literally something happens that occurs in the film. And it literally just says 1 minute later.
Oh.
Like, it literally goes from like 9 p.m., 9:01. And then that's how the film ends. It's like, oh. The ending is so shocking that it's like, I can't tell you like how shocking that ending. Like, it caught me off guard. And I think that's what cemented the film. It's also got great cinematography. I would highly recommend this film.
Do you know who the cinematographer is?
No. The director, though, I know the director ended up going and doing some other films. Let me look that up real quick.
I'll talk about... I haven't seen it, but it also seems like it's not just about race, it's also about religion as well.
Not so much religion.
Okay.
There are some things in it that, like, the boys end up, like, fighting, and then there's a guy that talks to him about, like, oh, you shouldn't be fighting. I mean, shit. Like, you guys should just fucking be friends. While the dude is literally just taking a piss in the bathroom. It's a joke.
So
but,
a little surreal comedy.
Yeah. So the guy who did this, he ended up going on to do Godzilla, Babylon AD, which is I think that was there's like one. This is like a Vin Diesel movie. Crimson Rivers, Godzilla, which apparently everyone likes Godzilla. I've never seen it, but the only reason to watch this is the director's only good film, in my opinion.
You're not a fan necessarily of his other works.
Babylon AD is not great.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, it's not. This is like I think this might be his best work. I think this might be his film debut.
So when you say it's kind of kind of an M. Night Shyamalan career kind of thing, where it started.
He ended up doing American films.
Okay.
He went from doing this French film to doing American stuff.
Isn't that kind of what the Amelie director did?
Yes, but that guy didn't even do that much either. But L'Haine. Great film. L'Haine.
All right. So I'm just gonna get the other one that I've reviewed. This is the Bruce Lee box set, and I don't need to prop it up because it's a box set. And I'm a big fan of box sets in general, even though they do take up space. And Bruce Lee was an amazing individual. If you have not seen the documentary Be Water, I would highly recommend that.
Really good.
It talks about his life, the career, and his struggles. There's not the bad. I don't even remember what the bad one was, but there was a good not biography, but a movie about Bruce Lee's life. I forgot what it was called. Do you?
I know what you're talking about. There's
not the stupid one that came out recently, and not Once Upon a Time, which his daughter hated.
Oh yeah, we don't talk. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but Enter the Dragon, I think it was his last film, wasn't it? I think it was.
No, because I think it was. He ended up doing like a second film to one of his Game of Death.
Okay.
Game of Death.
But Enter the Dragon might be his most famous, or one of his, at least one.
Enter
of his
the Dragon is his most famous.
And it's about Bruce Lee's character. I'm just gonna say Bruce Lee, and he is kind of like Michael Knight, infiltrating an organization an evil organization that has a tournament, and the villain has a whole it's been a while since I've seen it, but he has kind of like a whole criminal organization. I think some of it's prostitution or slaves.
Have you ever seen Balls of Fury?
It's basically the same thing.
It's the same thing, except
but with ping balls.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee's trying to bring it down because also he's employed to bring them down, but also one of the men working for the villain killed his sister.
Yep.
John Saxon's involved just as a tournament fighter John Saxon's a gambler, which is kind of funny.
He's awesome in that movie.
He's
awesome in this movie.
I don't think he knew much about fighting, but he learned for this role.
Yeah.
I think. And I'm trying to remember the name of the other guy.
The African American.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's
also
this movie's badass.
And Bruce Lee has a lot of great moments. He directed I believe all of his fight scenes.
There's like the mirror scene.
The mirror scene is the most famous.
Yeah.
And it's such a great film.
Yeah.
And there's not much to say. If you love Bruce Lee, if you love awesome action, kind of a James Bond type of plot, or at least a villain with a James Bond, because the villain is kind of as a James Bond feature where I think his hand is missing because at the end he has
like a hook or like
he has a claw, kind of like the Shredder.
Yeah.
And I think also the whole mirror scene is great, but I love the one where he gets revenge on the man who killed his sister. And Jackie Chan is in this movie.
Yeah, he gets his ass kicked.
This is, I believe, the one time Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan meet, and he snaps Jackie Chan's neck. And that's not a spoiler. I think that's common knowledge at this point.
It's something. They did something.
But in general, this is a great box set because it has a whole bunch of his other films. Let me see. Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, and Game of Death. So that's my pick. Just in general, if you want one, I'd recommend Enter the Dragon. But I would also say get this box set, and also just a nod to the documentary Be Water, my friend.
Cool. I mean, yeah, that box set's pretty nice, honestly. Yeah. When they released that, I was like, oh, damn.
Do you get box sets or not really?
Not really. I have two. I have this one now, and then there's the Eclipse. The only reason I got the Eclipse was that there's one film on that. My biggest love is for Czechoslovakian films. I unfortunately don't have one here, but Daisies, I would recommend Daisies. That movie is just wild. That movie is edited wild. The colors are wild. It's colorful, wild, incredibly feminine, but it's very, very well done. I love that movie so much. But let's go ahead and go to the next one. Oh God. This one gets talked a lot as one of the highest rated film of all time. Not American, but film-wise, this is definitely the highest rated film of all time. And that is Come and See.
Okay, I saw this at Barnes & Noble.
Come and See.
You have to see.
You have to see it. I can't really talk much about this. Think of the most horrifying war you'll ever see in your life turn into a horror movie. That's what this is. Like, it's without a doubt the scariest war film I've ever seen. It makes Saving Private Ryan look like a fucking Marvel film.
Oh my god.
Honestly, it's that insane of a film.
And that's saying something, because when I first saw Saving Private Ryan, I had to turn it off.
Well, this one, you'll turn it off, trust me. There's a lot of... It's not so much violence. I mean, towards the end, there's a lot of violence that happen. I mean, spoiler alert, yeah, they do end up, like, putting all these people in a barn just for the kids to, like, get out of the window for them to shoot at the kids. Which, by the way, they've used real bullets. Not so much shooting the kids, but, like, there are scenes where they're running, and those are actually real bullets that are being shot at. There's a cow that they end up killing for real. They killed it for art. But they, this is not a nice movie. It's a really great movie, but it's not a nice movie to begin with. Obviously, World War II, there's a lot of shit that happened, but we've never seen what happened on the Russian side. Right. This is what happened on the Russian side.
But is this based off a true story, or is this just non-fiction?
I think it's based on a book.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, it's based on a book. I don't remember the book name, but it's based on a book where I think it's real, I think it's fake, I'm not 100% sure. But there's a lot of really disturbing things in this. And there's a really good ending where it shows him killing a soldier, and it cuts to like stock footage of like everything else that was going on in the war with like Hitler, the concentration camps, burning, and it's just like the thing is, this picture of him on the cover, here I'll show you. Mm-hmm. This is not what he looks like. He's not an old man. That is a kid. And he's suffered through the whole entire movie. The kid, he's like, oh, going to war? How bad could that be?
That's what it does to you.
That's what it did to him. I mean, like, the thing that happened in the film is just, it's so brutal. It's a brutal film to watch. But, I mean, I'm glad they brought this to Criterion, because it's hard to find. I mean, I couldn't find it anywhere unless you rent it, but I'm really happy that they had it, and then you can watch the commentary, or listen to the commentary, read the book, which, by the way, I want to show you, that by disturbing, there's a very disturbing image of, there's a scene where they're running through a swamp, and the swamp ends up leading to that was actually, they're like, what are we stepping on? It turns out that they're bones, that they burned the village that he lived in. His mother died, we don't know what happened to the sisters, it's insane. And then he come across this village of like people that survived. And this is when I knew things were not right. When I saw a picture of this, I don't know if I should show it.
You don't have to show it.
Yeah, it's not a nice picture of Hitler. Not that he's doing anything, but it's like a corpse. But anyways, come and see. It's a very, very powerful film. Highly recommend it, though. The end.
I'm starting to notice a trend minus the minus Tampopo.
I think the next few are not. I mean, oh god, I'm looking at the next few right now. Go ahead.
All right. How about you? You're a fan of Alfred Hitchcock?
Sure.
Okay. This is 39 Steps. I'm throwing in a somewhat obscure one. Somewhat. I first heard about this in college when there was a I believe, a 3 or 4 character play at, like I said, my college, and it was a comedy where they did the 39 Steps. And I'm going to be completely honest, I don't remember the plot the best, but it's an Alfred Hitchcock thriller. It's kind of similar to North by Northwest.
Oh shit, I like North by Northwest.
And it's an average man, as so many Alfred Hitchcock films are about, who stumbles upon
a woman?
Well, a woman, but also spy-related stuff, and he finds out this thing called the 39 Steps, and he has to, or I think he has to figure out what the 39 Steps are, or he has to deliver what they are to someone else. But it is similar to North by Northwest because he's on the run and they think he's a spy, and I'm not giving it the best description, but I really do love this film. And it was a toss between this and The Lodger, because The Lodger is interesting because it's a silent Alfred Hitchcock film, and I love silent cinema. And it's also about Jack the Ripper, or at least a serial killer. I forgot which way. I think it is Jack the Ripper. They think that he's living in their lodge, and it's really moody because I think some of it takes place at least part of it takes place on the wilderness, and even on the front he's like on the moors or something like that. I'm not giving it the best description, but it is a fun Alfred Hitchcock film, and it's a good prelude. It even says that it's similar to North by Northwest on the back.
Oh.
So I would highly recommend 39 Steps. I don't have a lot to say about it because I don't have the best memory of it, but what I do remember is that it was something I needed to get on Criterion because I enjoyed the play version in college, even though it was a comedic spoof. And it's Alfred Hitchcock, you can't go wrong with that. And speaking of that, there's a few Alfred Hitchcock films I want to get on Criterion, or I'm not sure how many there are, but Notorious is on there.
Notorious, there's the Notorious, Lodger, 39 Steps. There's one other one that I'm forgetting. It's like with a cover where they're like umbrellas. I'm trying to remember that.
I don't know what that one
I think is Spellbound probably on there, but I don't know.
But the 39 Steps is one that I would recommend. I don't have a whole lot to say, but that's my recommendation for Alfred Hitchcock on Criterion.
Cool. Well, we're down to the last two, and I noticed that the next one you got is David Lynch, and I'm very glad that you got that because I got a David Lynch film right here. So might as well we talk about David Lynch.
Yeah. Do you want to? For those who don't know, do you want to talk about David Lynch?
I don't think he needs an introduction.
Well, I think there's some people who might not know who David Lynch is.
He's a mixed media guy. He has a YouTube channel right now where he goes over the weather. But before that, he did movies. He's done music. He's an artist. He's done any kind of media of art anywhere. The man is literally just everywhere.
He also did Twin Peaks, correct?
He did, yes.
Which a lot of people would probably know about what Twin Peaks is.
Twin Peaks is a fantastic show if you have not seen it. Netflix, they own the first 2 seasons as of right now. I'm on season 3. I still need to finish it. I haven't gotten a chance to. But there are some films of his that I quite enjoy, and there are some films on the Criterion Collection that he owns. There's Blue Velvet, which I still don't own. An absolute fantastic movie, but that's another one of those brutal films that we tend to not need to talk about. You have one that we're going to talk about soon, and then Twin Peaks, the prequel, Fire Walks with Us. He's also got a documentary which I highly recommend. It's called The Art Life, which I'll probably talk about here. And this one is top 4, top 3 favorite films of all time for me. And that, my friends, is Mulholland Drive. Mulholland Drive is this film, actually, I got introduced to this film. I got introduced to a lot of these in college, not gonna lie, because I've taken classes where it's like a foreign language class as well as, film as literature. And a couple of the films that I saw as film as literature are literally like my all-time favorite films now. Clockwork Orange is one of them, and Mulholland Drive is another. The beauty of Mulholland Drive is that no one knows what the fuck it's about because it's all over the place, and it's literally the thing with Lynch. He has a book. It's called Catch the Big Fish, which is pretty much saying like you meditate and you go into this transcendental state of mind where you just catch these little ideas, and then when you come back, and if you have 70 scenes in your head, you have a film. That's what a majority of his films are. And Mulholland Drive is something of pure brilliance, but also pure surrealist, pure parody, pure everything that I think David Lynch has captured about Hollywood. I really don't want to talk about the plot because
it says it's a love story. Is that a love story to cinema, a love story in general?
That's the thing. That's the thing. The thing is, between this and Persona, they're both the same films where they're both about two females that fucking Christ. I'm gonna spoil it.
Do you want us to stop?
No, I mean I'm gonna spoil it.
Let's put a spoiler warning right here.
Yeah, because this and Persona are two of my absolute favorite films, and they're both pretty similar in the sense where the two females both share the same mind, as in they're both the same people. Because Naomi Watts and Betty Elms, Betty Elms, no, Naomi Watts, and I forget the other actress's name, Laura Herring. They're both actresses living in Hollywood. Naomi Watts actually, she arrives in Hollywood and she thinks that she's going to be the star, and she applies to these different positions or these different jobs, or not jobs, but like acting roles, and it pretty much descends into fucking madness, which involves a blue box, a homeless man behind a diner. I mean, this all sounds weird, but it makes sense when you watch it. You have to. It's one of those films where you have to watch like 50 times to understand it, and I've only seen it 3, and I still don't understand it. But it's a weird dream. That's a lot of David Lynch's films, is that they're dreams. Mm-hmm. Speaking of dreams, Eraserhead is another one that's on it.
That's a go-to for most people who are fans of David Lynch, I assume. Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna talk about yours, but there's a lot of things with David that I admire a lot, and he's the reason why I made a film called Stare.
Yeah. Which, is that on YouTube or?
Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel.
I'll put a link in the description for Stare.
But he is the many reasons why I went into filmmaking. Just because his mindset of like capturing realism and surrealism and putting it in this weird world of his, he's a kooky guy.
Yes, he is.
He's a very kooky guy.
But I admire that about him, to be honest.
He's very old school. Like, there's a video of him, like, he made, like, a phone stand. Like, he when he's doing his videos, he made, like, a phone stand. And then he's like, I took the one that I bought, and I made it on my own. And I'm like, okay, why would you make your own if you already bought one? And that's the thing, is that David is a creator. He takes things, takes little ideas, and makes it his own. And with Mulholland Drive, it's not only like his own like way of like, you know, his own persona, but it's like it's just something else. I really I can't go into spoilers. I can't. I really can't. Because I mean, look at the title, Mulholland. Holland, Hollywood Land.
It gives you kind of an idea of what it's about a little bit.
Well, Mulholland Drive is there is a shot where in the beginning where they're driving down Mulholland Drive.
But it's not a...
But Mulholland Drive is literally just a windy road.
It's kind of like, maybe not the best example, but Breakfast at Tiffany's, in that it's not really about Tiffany's at this... I mean, it kind of...
There's a lot that goes into this film. There's a lot. There's so many things in this film. There's a director that's making a movie, and then it's having like some weird relationship issue triangle with Naomi and Laura. There's a cowboy out in the middle of Hollywood. There's like a ranch or something like that. There's like a casting director that's kind of like in a weird realm of Twin Peaks. If you've not seen Mulholland Drive, it's worth your time. And it's just an incredible film overall. I would, like, again, top 5 for me. Top 4. Probably top 3.
Right.
It got me into cinema.
Well, I'll definitely give that one a watch then, because that might actually be... I told Tori ones that I want to get next. Mulholland Drive might be the one I get next now.
Well, the next one I'll show you, I want to convince you
I think I know what it's going to be.
But,
I could be wrong. Let me do my David Lynch film, which is, I believe, the only David Lynch film I've seen. I could be wrong. I might have seen some of Eraserhead, but it's probably the least weird of the David Lynch films. Which is weird because it's the Elephant Man, and the reason I saw it is because I was in a play version of the Elephant Man in college. And so I thought I'd watch the film. And now, The Elephant Man's a true story, but the movie takes very big liberties with the story of Joseph Merrick, or John Merrick in this film. And it's about, I'll refer to him as John Merrick. John, played by John Hurt, is horrendously deformed.
Well,
and the makeup is...
We should tell him why is he called Elephant Man?
Because it's not that he looks like an elephant, as what you would think, but his mother was pregnant with him, and she, I think, either got knocked by an elephant or was scared and fell over because of an elephant, and she believed... This is a little bit from the true story, because I don't think they delved that much of it into the film. They might have. But she believed that because of the traumatic experience, that scarred him. Because, contrary to belief, he doesn't look like an elephant, but he had... No. But that's what happened. I think that was in the first scene in the movie.
Yeah, well, the main story of John is that the reason why he's the Elephant Man was because he was born deformed due to a disease called elephantitis.
Yeah, which we didn't know what it was at the time.
Yeah. And then, I mean, when was he even born? Like
1800s.
Yeah.
1800s, and he was... There is some historical inaccuracies, but I'll go with what the film says. He was treated horribly in real life and also in the film, and put on in a horrible freak show. And he's found by Dr. Trent Steves, played by Anthony Hopkins, and he is fantastic role. Anthony Hopkins also has Asperger's. Fun fact, I just found that out.
Yeah.
And he is marveled at for his oddity, but eventually he leaves the circus, or he's kicked out, I believe, and he takes up residence at Anthony Hopkins Hospital.
Yeah. And
meets the creme de la creme of society. But what I really want to say is, I think it's Rick Baker who did the makeup. I could be wrong.
I mean,
the makeup is fantastic.
I think what's interesting about the Elephant Man is the behind the scenes of Elephant Man, because I don't know if you knew this, but Eraserhead was David Lynch's first film. Eraserhead went on to becoming one of those midnight films up there with like a bunch of John Waters films, The Holy Mountain, which is one of my all-time favorite films, and Rocky Horror Picture Show. And Mel Brooks was in the audience of Eraserhead, and Mel Brooks said, "Hey, I like your work. Here's some money." So he ended up having the money produced to make this film, which I don't remember where it went from there, But the interesting thing about it is that Mel Brooks is an uncredited producer for this film.
And wasn't he uncredited because they thought it would be
Bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you can continue, but...
No, that's basically it. I would also highly recommend you look at the real life of Joseph Merrick, because it's a fascinating tale, and it's also one of perseverance, because he always, no matter, I admire him, and the things that he went through, and he just never get up. He had to work, he worked before being in a freak show, or circus, I don't like saying freak show, was he had to be a salesman, like door-to-door salesman, and he knew that no matter what happened, every time he opened the door, people would be afraid, but he had to make money, because his father and stepmother basically hated him, and he had to earn his way to stay in the house. And so no matter what, he even eventually worked in, I think they were sweatshops or something, which were horrible conditions. Basically, watch the movie and also read about Joseph Merrick, because it's an inspiring story.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. I think it's David Lynch's underrated film.
Most underrated, you say, or one of them?
One of his underrated films, because a lot of people give slack to Dune, because...
Is it not faithful to the book?
It's not a good movie,
Oh,
but
okay.
it became a cult classic. But out of David Lynch's filmography, no one really talks about Eraserhead. Eraserhead is a great film. I would recommend a lot of his films on Criterion. I would recommend. Maybe Blue Velvet is a little too heavy for a bunch of people, but Mulholland Drive, if you want to get weird, Mulholland Drive. If you want to get weirder, go Eraserhead. If you want to have something simple yet surreal and dreamlike, Elephant Man. We don't want to talk about Inland Empire, because that's a whole other film. That's like a 3-hour film of you sitting watching Laura Dern go insane. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
So, we're down to the last picks.
Down to the last picks.
Tori, I think I know what you're gonna pick, but I might be surprised.
So I already gave you like my all-time favorite. I would bring more, and I would love to talk more about this in the future, but I think right now I need to pitch a film to Jack, because I've had this film for a while, and it's a film that I know he'll like. It's up his alley, 100%. And I don't think I don't know if he knows about it. And it's not that one.
Oh, I was gonna say it was House.
I could talk a little bit about House real quick. It's weird. It's a great movie, though. It's a great Japanese film. There's a lot of craziness that happens in House. I would recommend it. No. So the film that I'm going to recommend, Jack, is a black and white film. It's from the 50s.
I'm intrigued.
And it's nothing I think you will see. And that, my friend, is The Night of the Hunter.
I've heard of it.
The Night of the Hunter. This is, without a doubt, the most underrated film I have on the Criterion Collection, actually. I remember watching this with my dad, Hunter, and Paige.
Hunter watching The Hunter? Night of the Hunter?
Pretty much. Like, they came in right at the end, but me and Paige, we sat through the whole thing. She loved it. She thought that this was a really interesting film. Let me get you the plot. So here's the plot. Night of the Hunter stars, what's his name?
Charles Lawton.
Well, no, Charles Lawton. He plays a reverend, and he's actually sent to jail for certain things that he's done. And he ends up meeting Charles Lawton, he's in jail. He's a reverend, and there's a dad that ends up going to jail. There's a whole family, we'll get to that, but the dad ends up going to jail for a crime he didn't commit, and it turns out that it was Charles Lawton's character that he took the crime for. So the dad ends up getting executed. Charles Lawton escapes. He doesn't get escaped, he ends up getting sent free out of jail. Charles Lawton is looking for apparently this money that's somewhere in this house that belonged to that family, and he ends up coming in, and the widow ends up marrying Charles Lawton.
Is this the one that you said was like Hamlet, or was
No. This is
'Cause
nothing like Hamlet.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is, there's these two kids, a boy and a girl, a brother sister. The brother does not like Charles Lawton. He does not like him. He knows that he's a sicko and a weirdo. And the daughter ends up falling for him because he's like this charming guy, and she's like, oh yeah, you're my new dad now and all that. But yeah, I can't go more because Charles Lawton is 100% creepy as hell. You know how you could tell when a reverend is creepy is when this is the film that brought the love-hate fist. I don't know if you knew about the love-hate fist.
No.
So Charles Lawton, he's a reverend, but he's got tattoos on his fist.
Oh.
Love and hate.
Okay.
So he's like, oh yeah, love conquers hate. And it's like a never-ending struggle with humanity, or something like that.
But he's a despicable reverend.
He's a very despicable guy. He ends up killing the mom and thinking like, oh yeah, like burying the mom. Like, not burying the mom. He fucking kills the mom by strangling her and putting her in the lake right behind the house. It's... I don't want to go more into it because there's a lot more things that happen. But, Jack, please review this film. I'm not saying it as like a joke. I'm saying review it. Because this is the most underrated like film I've seen.
Okay, so
from like the 50s.
Alright. This actually seems up my alley.
It's
Actually, it's not. I don't think it's Charles Lawton.
Charles Lawton, I think, is the
Directed it.
director.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
forget the fuck.
Because is that all?
I forget. Fuck, what's his name? Robert Mitchum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Robert Mitchum is the preacher. Yeah, he's the reverend. It's a really good film, and you got an amazing commentary from Guillermo del Toro, who talks about the film as it being like a weird, scary fairy tale for kids. And one of his inspirations was this film. Highly recommend it. It's something, again, blind buy. Picked it up, grab it, watched it, loved it. And that's what all these films are. You pick them up, you grab it, you watch it. You may get a miss depending on what your preference is, but like most of the time they're always great. And Night of the Hunter is absolutely fantastic.
You've convinced me that, and I'm interested, and I might review. I know I will review it. The reason I asked,
I would much rather you review this than here. Can I see that one? I'd much rather you review this than this as of right now. This House is another recommendation for a lot of people that I would recommend. On a certain level, on a certain day, this film is something to behold because of its batshit insanity. This is one that's interesting on a story-wise level.
okay,
Technical story. This one I know you'll like more. This one I think you'll laugh at more.
Oh.
Because this one's just weird. This is really good.
You've convinced me, and I will definitely review this. This will be on the list. Maybe not for Halloween because that's where Vigostein is, but I will put it somewhere.
Yeah.
The reason I asked was looking over a few times is because I have a Charles Lawton movie. This is not one he directed, but this is one that he started. And it's I did not put these in any order,
We didn't.
so
We didn't
this is
at
kind of a
all.
lackluster ending for me. But it's a horror film, and Charles Lawton is in, and so is Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi, as somewhat of usual, does not have a starring role in this, but he's still credited. It's called Island of Lost Souls, which is an adaptation of the book Island of Dr. Moreau. Some of you may have heard of Dr. Moreau, some of you may not have. You might be more familiar with the infamously bad one that had Marlon Brando in it. Island of Lost Souls is about a man who is basically has no choice but to be on this island with Charles Lawton's character, Dr. Moreau. And he is a scientist, a mad scientist, who has evolved animals into people. They're like animalistic people. One of them is Bela Lugosi, who's the lawgiver or the lawmaker, and it's a creepy role because there's the House of Pain where it doesn't, they don't show anything, but it's implied horrible things happens there. I mean, with a name like that, it's not that subtle. But there's also there's a lot of creepy taboo subjects in it. Like, there's the Panther Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yes, I have. Oh, yeah.
The
reason why I've seen this is because The Simpsons parodied it.
Yes, they did.
And that's why I was like, oh, what the heck is this movie? Island of Lost Souls? Okay, I'll watch it. And then I was like, yeah.
This woman was evolved from a panther, and Dr. Moreau is curious what would happen if a normal person and his panther woman mated. And it's...
Bestiality!
Yes. It's very... perverted, not in a... Well, perverted in a sexual way, perverted in a messed up way also.
Think of it like this. Like, a panther, she was a cougar, a panther,
It's it's tame, but it's also the concepts are.
It's very taboo, especially for the time.
Yes,
I mean, yeah.
It's a very 30s sexual movie, and also just very creepy, and just Bela Lugosi. He's not in it a lot, but he has a very eerie performance, and the ending is also kind of terrifying. Keep in mind also, I was watching this with a friend.
I think out of all the films you have, this is the one that I remember being like very weird.
Yeah, it is a weird. The book is weird. I think it was a short story.
It was.
Yeah. But it's also, I was watching as a friend who's hard of hearing, and so keep in mind most of the time on Criterion they don't have subtitles, or some of them do.
They all have subtitles.
Okay, this one.
They have subtitles for like the obviously the ones that are the foreign language ones, but when they're the English ones, they'll have subtitles.
Okay, I might have just was thinking of a different one then, because I think actually never mind. I watched this on TV and it didn't have subtitles, so maybe this one did.
Oh shit! The makeup artist Rick Baker.
Yes,
is commentary on it. That's cool. And John Landis, of course, John Landis.
We won't get into the John Landis.
Of course he would.
But I would recommend Island of Lost Souls. I don't, as usual, don't have a lot to say about it, but Charles Lawn's an actor that I really liked. He's done this. He's also famous as one of the actors who's portrayed Quasimodo. And he's also was the husband of Elsa Lanchester, who was the Bride of Frankenstein.
Should put back to back here.
Yeah, so those are the main I mean, I wouldn't say that's my main recommendation on Criterion, but it's a great one. But I think these are good ones to end on.
Charles Lawton.
Sorry. No, I was just saying, we had a David Lynch double feature, and we had a Charles Lawton double feature.
None of this was
scripted.
The reason, one of them was scripted because I saw you had Elephant Man, and I was like, okay, let me just put out David Lynch because we're already talking about David Lynch. But then I totally forgot that Charles was even in this movie. So, and I'm like, oh, he directed this. So
that's why at one point I asked, I was itching to segue to it because I asked at one point if you were done, and I was just like, I need to surprise Tori with this because I just found out, when I found out that Night of the Hunter was directed by Charles Lawton, my eyes lit up and I was anxious to surprise you with this.
Yeah, because the beauty of Criterion, everything's connected in a certain way, I think. Because, like, Toho, Godzilla, I mean, yeah.
Elephant Man,
Mulholland Drive. Not so much the other ones that we've been talking about, but, like, it's just, again, coincidence.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, I hope that you guys had some fun with this. This probably won't be insanely edited. If this video comes out in time, it probably won't because we're already near the end of July right now. But when are they? It's July, and what do you know the other month when Criterion's on sale?
It depends. It could be October, it could be November, September. They usually end. It's more towards the end of the year, but it's usually summer and then winter.
I would recommend getting one or two.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, actually, the best part for me is always wondering what the next new releases are.
Do they have a website, I assume?
Yeah, they have a website. They have stuff there where they can just they announce it. But as of now, they've announced the October release. And what's the beautiful thing about Criterion is that I don't know how the hell these things get we gotta raise our hands for certain movies. I vote for Uncut Gems to be on freaking Criterion.
That's coming to Criterion.
It's coming to Criterion, but the beauty of it is like a lot of Netflix stuff are on Criterion now. So like Marriage Story, Irishman, Roma. Like the beauty of Criterion is that
Parasite got on.
Well, Parasite automatically got it because of its historical factor of being the first film to win in the Oscars, dude.
Yeah.
That's history.
First Korean?
Well, first South Korean film to win an Academy Award for Best Foreign Film, but the first foreign film to win Best Picture.
Okay.
Because there was an Ingmar Bergman film that I should have brought, Cries and Whispers. That was one that was nominated for Best Picture, but there's a bunch of other ones that got one Best Picture, or didn't win Best Picture, but Parasite was the one that like broke that seal, and then 2020 just kind of took a dump. But like the interesting thing is Criterion, it comes from a lot of things. It comes from fans that are blockbuster films, fans that are from cinephiles to foreign language, to even as ridiculous as like having Uncut Gems on there. It opens the gateway for a bunch of films to like be on this series of films, and that's what I think the beauty of Criterion is all about, is that we can all come together and be like, yeah, I got Uncut Gems on Criterion, yeah, I got Mulholland Drive, I got House, I got Sallow, I got War of the Worlds. It's beautiful.
There's something for everyone.
It's a beautiful, beautiful company, and I love them, and I love what they do. The restorations are beautiful. The booklets are beautiful. The artworks are just amazing in itself. So, I mean, look at your giant
The Godzilla one.
thing.
The Godzilla one is probably my favorite of the art pieces.
It's really insane. It's a great company.
All
so
right.
I'm gonna end it with that.
I think we'll end there. Thank you for joining us on this Criterion excursion. Thank you for joining me, Tori.
No problem.
And I don't know, again, when this will be uploaded, but I'll get to work as soon as possible. We have a few TV recaps and an OMM video coming out. And we'll also be working on the Vigo Stein. So take care, everyone, and support Criterion.